Hello everyone, we're going to start working on making this boat look absolutely fantastic. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to look at some pictures of the boat, and we need to think about them, because the pictures give a very different view of a boat from the plans that you get or any diagrams that you might have. We want the stuff that's going to make this look fantastic. So let's have a look at some pictures. Right, so this is the first picture. It took me a little while to figure this out, but there's clearly two submarines here. That's my son playing the tuba, and what you can see here is this is the tail of one and this is the bow of another. It's a nice picture. So this one gives you some nice detail of the sail, and you can see how dented it is and how battered. The actual hydroplanes are pretty good, and you can see all of the rubbish coming out of the rear vents on the sail, and of course you can see all of this sound deadening material added to the sides, which I want to put on. And on top of that you can see the hatches. The stern hatch is open, but if you look at the bow hatch, it's completely flat, it's completely streamlined. Now this is great. It shows you the bow and it shows you that fore hatch with those hooks around it. That we can do and we can add. Now this picture is interesting because it shows you this sound deadening material going right the way round, wrapping right under the boat, apart from where the torpedoes are, and it shows you that the bow is just completely smooth. So this is a really good picture to give us an idea of how it's going to look, and this colour scheme I will follow. So we'll have red at the halfway mark apart from on the bow. Now this is great because you can see this sound deadening material, and it seems to have some rhyme or reason to it here, but some of them are long, some of them are short, they look patched. And that's what we're going to try and recreate. And you can see the the starboard side bulge that runs along there. That's for towing gear behind the submarine, I believe. But you can also see rivet holes in that, because this is a fairly lightweight machine. So I added this to the list. You can see the this tube, or this opening in the front of the sail. You can also see the side of the sail on here if you look closely, and it looks a bit battered, doesn't it? It looks like it's a lighter weight covering than the rest of the ship altogether. That's what we want to recreate. I've put this one in because I think this is what I'd like to recreate, this particular look, although this is a later version of the LA that doesn't have the sail hydroplanes. What's good about this picture is you can see this lovely green stuff on the side of the boat. It really needs a bit of a hull scrape. All of the crew look like they're pissing over the side. I'm sure they're not. But this gives you a nice overall view of the boat, and I guarantee if you came up close to this it would look pretty battered. This is a nice close-up now of the hatches, and once again you can see all of the little panels on the side of the sail. This is interesting because it has these patterns, these white patterns around the hatches. Not sure what that's for, but I'm going to recreate that. One of the reasons I'm going to do that for is it makes it easier to see your model when you have some decent white on it. You can also see the vents at the back of the sail. Now I kept this in because you can see the contraption down the side of the boat. It's going to be interesting to model that. One of the issues with it will be making sure that we have access underneath and on the top for the air, because that would really throw the stability of the boat out if we made it watertight. Now this is a very nice shot, and you can see here the markings, the 28, 7 and 6. It gives you a bit of an idea of where the boat sits in the water. Very interesting that the plan that I have of this boat shows it actually lower in the water. than this. And the pictures you see of the LA boats have them sitting in the water at lots of different levels, but they always are bow up, apart from when they're sailing and apart from when they're about to dive, and they level out. It's very, very interesting stuff. Now, I like this picture because you can see the battered nature of the sail. I think it's fantastic. And this one also, you can pick up the same, but this is nice because it has this little section in the front just underneath where the men are standing, which is obviously for some kind of sensors. But also you can see that they've closed up that hatch, if you like, for that socket, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but this is closed. And I like to model my boats as if they're dived. And if they're dived, they don't have all the gear up. They're all flat and they're all smooth on the top. So I'm going to go for that kind of look on my submarine. It's a lot easier to model as well. Now look how far this one's sitting out of the water. That's pretty amazing. Now this could be during a refit or something like that where the boat's up high, I don't know. But they obviously had a lot of capacity to lift the boat up high. And we've also got this bulb on the front of the boat that I'm going to recreate for my boat. I also note halfway down the hull before the sail on the port side, there's a socket in there, and that's where the sound deadening isn't going into. So that's quite interesting. I might do something similar on this boat. Now on this one you can see what looks like to be rivets on that strip down the side of the boat. And in this one you can see that in more detail, and I can easily recreate that using aluminium flashing and a very simple pinking roller. On this too, you've got this nice close-up of the sound deadening, and isn't it a mess? Got to get that. And you've also got this great the bulb and what that looks like on the front of the boat. Now look at this. This is just lovely. This is a working boat. It's very interesting that that extreme bow section looks quite clean, but the rest of it's been knocked around. Things have bumped into it. Not going to recreate all of that. Plus you've got this lovely bow up look to it. It's great. And this is the sail. This is another very nice picture, and I want this look. I really want this look. In fact, I might overemphasize those little hatches and make them even better. And you can also see the horizontal lines of the panels. Want to recreate that as well. We'll make a really nice job of that. Alright, some time has passed, and I'm now just going to summarize what we're going to do and make some changes, because I've actually in time gone ahead and done some things, and some of them didn't work, so this is going to be a bit interesting. But what I plan to do at this point is very basic. The first thing is I need to make the hatches for the top of the deck. Secondly, I have to put the walking strip in, and I'm just going to use some wet and dry sandpaper to do that. Very simple. Next, I have to put this array in, this long strip, for which I'm going to use aluminium flashing to do all of that. Now, here's a quick picture. This is in advance, so you can see it, of what we're actually going to get to. The next thing is the bow sensor that just goes on the top of the deck in front of the sail. Then I'm going to make millions, it's going to appear, of little plates that I'm going to glue onto the side. It's going to seem like overkill, but in the end I think it looks pretty stunning. Then we're going to glue them all on. That'll be fun. Okay, now the other side is the sail. The sail's a bit of an interesting story because I made it, I raced ahead, I put some aluminium flashing all around it, I put some alfoil around it, and it looked shit. And it was too heavy. So what I decided to do was remake it. So you'll notice in my movies there's going to be a bit of twisting and turning, but this is actually what has happened. and this is the result that you can see right here. But what I did was I used some balsa to make the main lid. I used 2 pieces of aluminium flashing, but before I glued them on, the second piece I put all of the nice rivets and so on, and all of the marks for the hatches and all of that sort of stuff, then glued it all on, took the bit of wood out of the middle, and it's pretty light, and it looks really, really nice. So there's a lot of work that's gone into that. Mind you, the whole rebuild of the sail only took probably a day. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Then we come to the painting, and the painting part is about, I use acrylic, and I'm using a brush, and I'm going to start by putting the red on under the hull, and that'll need probably about 3, maybe even 4 coats to get right. Then we start with the black for everything else, and then right at the end I'm going to use a fine brush and some nice grey, like you see around the outside of the sail. I'm going to touch that up. Then we're going to use some purchased material that I have, which with my computer and some nice paper enables me to print some nice little numbers and what have you, plus those really nice markers that go over the hatches for the subfoot, so that they can be targeted by helicopters for whatever reason. Anyway. Then once we've done that, I'm going to paint the entire thing with matte varnish so that it is completely flat. That makes an enormous difference to your boat. And later in the day, I'm going to start weathering it and putting all that green on, but not yet. I'm going to get it all running first and sail it for a bit before I put the green on. Okay, let's go.